This is Kentucky Afield Radio. This is Ron Rohde, Kentucky Afield's first host back in 1953. Now, I'm proud to present Charlie Baglin.
When you call, we answer. A lot of people are surprised by that. They say, oh, a human. Like, yeah, that's me.
Weren't expecting that.
Weren't expecting that.
Why does good customer service seem to be replaced by a robot? But is quality help a vanishing thing when you call about hunting, fishing, boating, and so much more? We go inside outdoors with Seth Stewart, who heads the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Call Center. Please continue to hold. This show is very important to you. Next on Kentucky Afield Radio.
I'm on to him, Kate. If he says 10, he's lying.
You poor thing.
It's mostly about fishing. He caught 10 fish in 10 minutes, or it weighed 10 pounds, like right.
Well, what about when he says you're a perfect 10?
Did I say it's mostly about fishing?
Your Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife reminds you, fishing's not about math. It's about fun.
And fudging a little if you need to.
Kentucky Fishing. Be honest.
It'll make a liar out of you.
Maybe I won't, but I could.
Maybe.
Yes, I won't.
Well, on second thought,
Yeah.
No.
yes.
Arguing with yourself about life jackets? Well, the answer is yes. The answer has always been yes.
What the heck? Yes.
Could be you've just been lucky till now.
Yes.
This boating season, Kentucky conservation officers remind you, your life jackets got your back. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. Thanks for joining me. My name is Charlie Baglin. Questions. What do fishing, boating, deer hunting have in common with cable TV or your internet provider? Probably not much, except for when you have a question and you call for assistance. Kentucky's Department of Fish and Wildlife, just like cell phone companies or bank, has a customer service number. And there was a study done recently, I saw this June of 2015, from the American Customer Satisfaction Index. It says that 1 in 3 callers to nearly half of all callers for customer service were unhappy. Cable TV and internet service providers leading the pack. What those numbers add up to for Kentucky's fish and wildlife questions, I'm not sure. But we talked to Seth Stewart, who heads the Fish and Wildlife Information Center, to see what they do to keep callers happy instead of frustrated. Seth, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Obvious question first. What do people want to know in the heat of the summer?
I think most people want to know...
not deer season.
Not deer
turkey season.
It's definitely fishing season then. It's definitely time to get the family and friends and everybody get out on the boats and have a great time. If I was them, I would check into laws and regulations, especially for areas about boating safety. And if they're not going boating or things of that nature, then definitely our Fishing in the Neighborhoods program has done great wonders as far as I'm concerned about people getting a chance to fish in their local cities.
I would imagine that you get plenty of questions on when is this lake going to be stocked?
Absolutely. And basically the best way that people can find that information is by all means either call us or go online to our website, fw.ky.gov. Come to the homepage, click on the word fish, and then go into the trout stocking schedule. And we listed every there. As soon as it comes from the fisheries program, then it's up there.
Or they could just call you.
Or they could just call. And we're going to look on the website in the same place.
I don't know if I'm the one that would rather hear it from you, or I'd rather look it up on an app or go to the web. It's always nice, and well, I read this, but now I want to hear it verbatim from a live human being.
Sure.
Do you get that?
Not often, truthfully. It's usually people who don't have internet access. They just don't understand, or they don't really have the time to look. Or even people who don't realize that we have this information on our website. 90% of the time, I'd say it's more that than anything else. They don't realize that we're putting the information out there for the public as fast as we can. And so they give us a call and say, hey, where's this at? And usually we'll try and explain it to them, like, here's where you can look later if you want to.
Is it easily found? It may be on the internet, but I know that sometimes you go out there and it's impossible to find it. Well, it may be there if you go through a chain of links.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the case with Fish and Wildlife, but just in regular life, you say, well, you have to go here and you go here. I was on with someone, it seemed like 2 weeks ago. Well, if you do this, and then click that, and then click this, and go there, no, it ought to be simple. You just go to the home page and click, there you are. But, buddy, I'm telling you what, I had a miserable time getting simply where I needed to go. It was, I was getting my cell phone fixed. So, anyway, finally got the appointment made and everything's done now. But I'm wondering with the Fish and Wildlife website, that's out of your hands.
Right.
But you talk about being as big as the great outdoors. Just take a look at your website. I mean, it's huge, amazing. If you wanted to find out the fishing regulations on Spurlington Lake, is that simply done? Can you just put that in a search box and pop up?
Yes, you can. We don't often use it ourselves. For some things we do. I always have difficulty finding, there's a program that was installed, I believe, a year or two ago, where you can actually take your mounts, like let's say you inherited your deer mounts from your father. All right, you don't have the confirmation numbers for those anymore because he killed those when you were a baby. All right, and he's had them on his wall for years. Now he's passed them to you, and you don't want them. You want to sell them. So you can actually go online to our website and get a registration number for that deer mount, or I believe it's elk or bobcat, number of the species, and sell that legally that way without having to go through a taxidermist, which has been the case in the past. It seems to be, I can never find it on our website, and I use our website every day, all day long. And so if you type it in the search box, that's the first thing that pops up. Our search box is very good. It will help most people get to where they want. If not, they can always call us between 8 and 4:30, Monday through Friday, and we will walk them through the process to get there.
There was a time, and you may have been at the Department of Fish and Wildlife when this was the case. I can't remember when you started, but the search box
was not as effective.
Well, yeah, that would be another way of saying it.
Yeah, it was basically useless.
It was horrible.
Yeah. The website, because the department does so many things for the public and for conservation, it is as gangly as it has to be. It is at the same time as streamlined as it can be. Therefore, you might pull up wildlife and you're looking for how to trap. This is a good one, in fact, because this was just changed recently. I want to know how to get a CITES tag, all right, for trapping, because I want to be able to sell the fur, which is a requirement to have if you're going to sell the fur for like an otter or a bobcat.
CITES, not cities. C-I-T.
C-I-T-E-S.
Yes.
Right. So basically my staff processes those, but the easiest way to get all of this done is to do it if you go to trap. You trap 6 bobcats, 6 otters. Okay, that's your limit for your area. And you decide, okay, now I'm going to go sell them at a local show. All right, and the carcasses are in your freezer. You checked them in, everything's legal, everything's fine. And now you want to go ahead and get those CITES tags, which are physical tags that go in the animal's fur. The easiest way is to have them all together, do them all at once on our website. And now we've got it connected to where it actually all goes through your My Profile, which is kind of a big push by the department because it's a very good program. It almost personalizes our webpage for you, the hunter or angler. And that's the whole point of it. When you go to the homepage, you see it on the left hand, it says My Profile. You click on it, it's got all your information. That allows you to enter all your CITES tags, reprint your license, see any harvests you've ever had, because, of course, a lot of people call and say, 3 years ago, I killed that giant buck, and I put it in the freezer, and now I want to go have it mounted. But I lost the confirmation number, don't know where it's at. So we'll go and look in there for it. Or they themselves can go in there, My Profile, their personalized section of our website, pull up their information. They'll see everything they've ever harvested, every license they've ever bought, or print their current one. It's really getting to be a really good program that hopefully more people will become understanding of.
I remember somebody saying they're coming up with we don't know what to call it. I remember somebody calling me because they know I'm in advertising. They say, what do we call this thing? And I don't know what I told them, but anyway, they went ahead with the My Profile. But regardless of what it's called, my stuff, whatever you call it, My Profile. Do people say, I don't want the government having my profile? I've got enough profile out there other places,
right?
Driver's license, wherever. But my profile, as far as everything I've ever caught, ever checked in, turkeys, deer, elk, it's all right there. Customer service is the conversation this hour. More, my name's Charlie Baglin. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio. Charlie Baglin is my name, and Seth Stewart is in the studio, and he is in charge of the Customer Service Center for the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. And one easy out for Seth and customer service reps would be to say, you can find that online, just like Southwest does. Thanks for calling, but lower fares may be available online. Sometimes online is better. But what I hope is that online never replaces the friendly voice. But it would also be cool to see something like at the Fish and Wildlife website for people to be able to customize that, just like they might do with their My Yahoo account or their AOL account with the topics they're interested in, their local weather.
This is a concept that was brought about by our IT department, and I hope that it goes that far, because I think because the web page is so gangly, and you might only care about fishing. Fishing at Corinth Lake, that's where you fish, you love it, you've been fishing there all your life, and you want to know what programs are going on at Corinth Lake. You want to know what's in the future Corinth Lake. You want that information. Hopefully we'll get to the point where that happens, to where that is specialized just for you the way you want.
That would be too cool.
That would be. I mean, I think that's the aim, and it's just getting to that point will take time.
You go on these websites, the word my comes up, then it's going to be personalized. And the more you can personalize it to me, the data I want, the happier I'm going to be. The more I'll do business with you.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice. That's sweet.
That would be. And really, it cuts down on the volume of information, which is enormous, that I and my staff have to perpetually give out in repetition to people. If they understood that, this is where I'm going to go to get my information for season dates. I want to know when my season dates are. Well, in the past, or I don't know, even better, I want my fishing forecast for the lakes that I love to fish in. Well, if that's all online, you look on there, you go with your phone, which a lot of people are already doing, which is interesting because I know that one of our assistant directors said that more than half of the license sales that were online were coming from mobile platforms, which is people going online with their phone onto our website, which is mobile capable as well as desktop capable, and they purchase their license right there. So technology is making a big influence on how we do business, and it's going to continue that way.
The desktop platform versus, it looks like an app, but it's not. It's just the mobile website.
Right. The whole thing is basically based off of one program that works off of the idea that no matter what size of the screen, it's the same thing. So really, people who access our website from the mobile platform or the desktop platform, it's the same. If you were to take our website right now on your computer and you were just to shrink down, like make it skinny,
then you can do that.
It would turn into what the mobile one looks like.
Yeah, that's true. There's the little square up the top where you click that one little square and it makes it smaller on the screen.
Right, and then you adjust the size.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage people to try that, and you'll see.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun.
Because they'll say, well, the mobile version's not as easy to work, or it's more easy, or whatever. It's all the same. I'm getting cheated on information that's not on one but is on the other. Right. But anyway, shrink down that page. Don't make it full size. Put the cursor, use the mouse, and shrink it down,
on your phone,
and it will change the look.
Right.
Whoever came up with that technology is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's impressive, truthfully, because everything's the same, but then it looks different, but it's the same thing. It's just a matter of your display screen. Yeah, well, it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Because in technology terms, when you think about it, from a business perspective, you have to either make apps to showcase what your business or service offers, or you have to make a mobile app. So you're basically dealing with, you don't want to deal with two different platforms. So basically what this does is you only have one. Our IT people only deal with one platform. And it just translates to different environments, I guess is how you could really think about it. And you might be looking at something, and we figured this out on our own when there were a couple of people that called and said, I can't find this on my, or I can't find this in general. And then after talking to them for about 5-10 minutes, they're like, oh, well, this isn't on my phone. We're like, okay, you're on your phone. And so we would actually shrink down the page to see what they were seeing. And then we could walk them through it step by step where they need to go.
That makes sense. Time of year. So I'm going to guess deer and turkey season are your in the fall fishing and spring fishing. That's my guess. When are your busy times? How does it compare to the heat of the summer?
The heat of the summer is relatively calmer. Of course, it's much calmer than deer season. It's much calmer than turkey season. It's much calmer than new license season, which I consider the month of March, when everybody's buying new license. They have questions. At the same time, this is the time of year that you get some of the most interesting and detailed questions. Bullfrog calls, gigging. We won't get gigging calls any other time of the year. But in the summer when people are out doing their specific activities or things that they learned from their grandpa or their grandma or whoever, and they're out wanting to know these specific little details. And you really kind of have to dig and research. It takes more time, but at the same time, it's more interesting for us because it's something, in a way, new. Got an interesting call earlier today about a gentleman who wanted to know about a rifle from 2012 elk season that had an engraving on it, like a golden engraving or something. Well, this wasn't from us. We don't give guns away. And this, I told the gentleman, this is probably from an outfitter or something that this person came into contact or came to receive this weapon from. But those are those interesting, different questions that you kind of have to start researching. You're going to have to go talk to law enforcement. You have to go talk to wildlife and say, hey, or public affairs, say, was there some type of special program going on that we didn't know about? Or something more detailed. At this time of year, there's a lot of questions about fish, about nets, things of that nature. So we got to dig into the guide. We got to see what's legal, what's considered commercial gear, what's considered sport gear. So I think that this time of year it's slower, but at the same time the questions are more involving.
There was a time when the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife didn't have a Seth Stewart or an information center. There was a time when the world didn't have internet or apps. There was a time when these things just didn't exist, and I remember them. Of course, it was just early 90s. But you would call the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, and you don't know who's going to answer. Somebody's going to answer, and they're going to be nice, but chances are they didn't have a clue. Yeah. They would have to transfer you. But now you answer. Whoever answers the phone now at the Department of Fish and Wildlife is going to be able to help you. Really appreciate what it's like to have good customer service. I pride myself in giving it, and I love when I get it.
Right.
And I'm sure that you're the same way.
Sure.
But when people call and they say, hey, I want to know, it's amazing the long list of stuff that you're expected to have right on the top of your head.
And it is a long list, and truthfully, we don't know all of it by any means of imagination. There are questions every day that I'll have to transfer to fisheries biologists or wildlife biologists, public lands biologists, private lands biologists, because I'm not a biologist. My understanding is general of everything.
Yeah.
As it concerns the department. The detailed bits and pieces that really are specific to a certain area, like when somebody says, oh, have you ever been to Kingdom State Park down in eastern Kentucky? I'd like to get there one day. Maybe I can get some time off, but not right now. No, I've never been there. Well, do you know over near Bill's house, around next to the dumpster where the bear keeps coming? No, I don't know that one either. I'm sorry. But we try and put them into contact with somebody who does know that.
Yeah.
And that's really as much a part of our job as not only just knowing as much as we can, but knowing who to put you in contact with to make that as short as possible from who you need to speak to get the answers you want.
I made a note here to tell you the story about Walmart.
Yeah.
And maybe you've seen it too. I was in one day, and this was years back, and I was needing to go into the dressing room, try on pants. Mm-hmm. The lady at the dressing room answered the phone and then transferred the call. And I got thinking, I wonder why the lady at the dressing room would be doing that. And I wonder if the person at the sporting goods counter is doing that too. It sort of reminds us of the way Fish and Wildlife used to be back in the early 90s or 80s, 70s. Mm-hmm. That you're getting double duty out of a lot of people, and including that nice lady at the dressing room. But when I look at you, you're not just sitting there answering the phone, answering fishing questions. There's all kinds of things you're doing when the phone's not ringing that keeps you in touch with the Fish and Wildlife information that's disseminated to the citizenry. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you all do when the phone's not ringing?
Well, we're either answering more questions online. Other things that we do is we go onto the website looking for mistakes. This is a small fraction. We do mail-outs. We do basically anything that anybody needs us to do at the time, as long as it doesn't interfere with the job of servicing callers.
That means you come first. More on the other side of the break with the Fish and Wildlife Call Center Chief. You are listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. This is Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin, and here's a question. What should you do if you see a black bear here in Kentucky? It's summer, they roam, they are looking for mates. Should you A, panic? No. B, feed it? No. The answer is C. Take a good look. Maybe take a picture, because you may never see it again. It is time now for our fishing report.
This is Rob Roll in the Northwestern Fishery District. Our two major reservoirs, Nolin River Lake and Rough River Lake, bass are active at both lakes early in the day and late in the day by fishing topwater baits around some of the steeper rocky banks. Some of the big fish are holding off deeper around the 15-foot level on points and channel banks, and that's also where most of the fish are being caught during the day by using worms or jigs. At Nolin Lake, white bass fishing is getting good, mainly early and late in the day, using spinners and spoons to catch them when they're in the jumps. Crappie also doing fair at both lakes. Fish minnows on those brush piles and pick up a few crappie. At Lake Malone, bass are doing good on crankbaits and plastics in the 10 to 15-foot depth range. Please remember, always wear your life jackets. Be safe on the water.
In western Kentucky, down at Kentucky and Barkley Lakes, this time of the year, what I'm thinking about doing is up in the lakes fishing for blue cats out on the river channels, using a ounce to 2 ounce lead head, just tapping the bottom with a tail type hook and using a big night crawler. Also, this time of year, mayflies are hatching, so fishing along the shoreline for panfish, your sunfish, bluegill, can be a lot of fun if you find your mayfly hatch along the shoreline. Crappie fishing, they're still catching a few crappie out deep, fishing the ledges. The fish are suspended, so they're a little tougher to catch. And then bass fishing, they're kind of transitional. You're going to catch you some big bass out on the ledges, and then up shallow, spinner baits around docks and brush piles. And then in the tailwaters, you've got striped bass, and you've got catfish. Well, this is Paul Reister, and I hope you find a good day to go fishing.
This is Jeff Crosby with the Central District Fishing Report. Lake temperatures across the area are running into low to mid-80s. Black bass are being caught early and late on topwater baits such as buzz baits and stick baits. Crappie at many of the area lakes are being caught in 6 to 12 foot of water using crappie jigs or live minnows fished around submerged trees. Also, bluegill are ready are being caught at many of our area lakes, especially our small lakes like Beaver, Elmer, McNeely Lakes. Finally, many of our area lakes are stocked with channel catfish. You can try a wide variety of lures, such as night crawlers, chicken livers, or steak baits to catch a few of these. Gist Creek, Beaver, Elmer Davis, and Corinth are excellent lakes in the area to catch a few of these channel catfish. So grab your pole and hope to see you on the water.
It's not here yet, but summer has a way of flying by. So before September hunting seasons open, you could find yourself in a crunch of last-minute details. Tricks to keep from it after the break.
Did you grab the mayonnaise?
We've got to meet Bob and Cindy at the little store to buy some lunch stuff. Where's John?
He said he left something in his room. He's coming. Did you grab the mayonnaise?
What do you think? Ham, chips? I put that mustard we like in the cooler.
Did you grab the mayonnaise? Oh, here he comes.
Good. He grabbed his life jacket. I should have remembered that.
Did you grab the mayonnaise?
Cupcakes. I want those yellow cupcakes.
Tell your phone.
Boaters are busy, on and off the water. That's why Kentucky conservation officers remind you, your life jacket's got your back. We are back in our second half hour. My name is Charlie Baglin. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio, and we come into contact with the information we need for whatever in the world it is we're doing, from changing a flat to baiting a hook. But when we go outside, outdoors, to fish, to boat, to hunt, trapping, habitat improvement, that information is available in many, many ways. And we realize that some just may be more comfortable with reading the information or watching versus calling in.
For the most part, we try and help everybody that asks us for help. And then we're also highly involved with the magazine. We're kind of like the administrators and the circulation manager and this, that, and the other of the magazine.
The magazine being Kentucky Afield Magazine.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I swear it's better every issue. Not to even talk like this is the greatest thing ever. The cover art is done by Rick Hill. It's fantastic. I've always loved it. The writers write things that people need to know about hunting and fishing in Kentucky, and it's really applicable. It's not just, this is an advertisement and I want you to buy it. No, it only comes out 4 times a year anyways. So it's, some people call us up and they're like, I didn't get my issue this month. And well, you probably didn't because it didn't come out yet. But the things that are in there tell you the best places to fish, the best places to hunt, the gear that you need, animals to look for along the way. It's a fantastic publication. And we're lucky that, unlike many states, we've been able to keep it in a print format that we can send to subscribers, 4 times a year plus the calendar.
Is it online? Is there an online version of the magazine?
No, we've worked on it for back and forth a couple times, but it hasn't materialized. So it is only in print publication at this time. One day it'll eventually be in an online format. But
let's go back and talk about quality customer service people want when they have to call somebody. Sometimes they'll just cringe. If you're going to call your cable company, cell phone company, insurance, doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be a litany of pressing buttons to get where you need to go and then wind up lost.
That's a good point. We pride ourselves in answering the phone as soon as you call. If we don't answer, it's because there's too many calls. So if you keep getting like, oh, they won't answer, we'll answer eventually, I promise. There's technically only 6 of us, and that's if one isn't sick or something like that. But you don't get a machine. We did away with the machine. We had an answering machine kind of service that was introduced a few years ago. We got rid of it, and I'm glad we did. When you call, we answer. And a lot of people are surprised by that, and I get tickled when they say, oh, a human.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's me.
Weren't expecting that.
Weren't expecting that. And we try and stay personable with people. We take as much time as is necessary to answer questions and to help people. Sometimes you got to get to that next phone call, but other times like today I spent 20, 30 minutes speaking to a lady about a pigeon that was hurt. Wildlife rehabilitators, and then we went into this further conversation and this other subjects about wildlife and conservation. And it's nice to talk to those people, be able to spend time with them. There's other times that people call up and they just want to know their information right now. I can give it to them in a few seconds, and that's it. And that's all they need.
So how often do people get mad and say, I want to talk to your supervisor?
Not that often.
Not that often.
It happens every once in a while. You can't please everyone. You try, but you can't make everybody. Sometimes people call because they want to be able to vent their frustrations of the day. Something happened to them at work, and they're angry, and now they looked outside, and it's whatever reason, they're going to call Fish and Wildlife and complain. And that's fine. There have been incidents that have happened where people have called and yelled and screamed at my staff for something that, of course, we had no hand in. That's the nature of this job.
It doesn't matter if you're Fish and Wildlife or, I don't know, Department of Education or wherever.
Yeah.
You're Frankfurt. You represent the institution, the system, the laws, the government.
To a point.
To a point. But to the caller, you're Frankfurt.
True.
And a lot of people are upset with Frankfurt for whatever reason.
Cool.
And if they call and if you're able to answer even if you answer their question to the T, you're still Frankfurt, and they're going to give you an earful.
Right. And so you listen and you say thank you, and then that's it.
Some people, though, this is one thing I noticed. I talk about call-ins. The Kentucky Afield TV show does call-in shows 4 times a year at KET in Lexington. And I've been on that bank of people who answer phones, and you're supposed to write down the person's name, where they're from, and what do they want to know. And a lot of them all they want to do is talk. They don't really care about the answer. They just want to just get something off their mind.
True.
And I take the time to talk to them.
Yeah.
I appreciate their call, but it's not that they told anybody that can really make a difference. They told Frankfurt. You follow my train of thought?
Of course.
And that has to happen to you quite a bit. Even though you can't change the regulation, you can certainly listen to their thoughts.
True. Absolutely. There's almost no situation where we disconnect with callers unless they're verbally abusive. So, and there's that. That happens every once in a while, but not that often.
What should people be concerned about in late summer as we speak right now, so it maybe lightens their load, lightens your load come opening of many, many hunting seasons on September 1?
On September 1?
Yeah, so in July and August, what do they need to be thinking about? Is Hunter Ed one of those? Getting in their classes or getting the permits needed?
Absolutely. You bring up Hunter Ed, and it's a fantastic topic because they should have already done that. They should have been doing that in March. They should have been doing that in April. They should have been doing that in May. They should be doing that right now.
I have a phrase.
They should be doing that in June.
I have a phrase. Hunter Ed. Get it while it's hot.
That's a good one.
Get it while it's summer so you don't have to fool with it in fall.
Yeah. And that's a bad mistake that a lot of people make. Unfortunately, they don't realize that, hey, my kid is 15 years old, and me and him, we want to go out and we want to hunt at Fort Knox. One of our friends who is like an Army Sergeant Major, something like that, says, hey, come out and hunt on the base with us. You have, it doesn't matter if you were born before or after. The legal requirement for hunter education is anyone born after January 1st, 1975 has to have their hunter education completed. All right, well, you were born in 1964. Guess what? To hunt on that reservation, that military reservation, you have to have your hunter education anyways. Might as well just go get it. And you do it once, it's good for every state in the Union, I think, except Hawaii and Alaska. And I might be good in Alaska, too, I'm not sure. I think it's all 49 continental states. You can take it anywhere. You can go to Colorado. People from Colorado, their hunter ed is good here in Kentucky, vice versa. We do have people from Indiana, from Ohio sometimes, that do call and say, when is the class in this county that is near us? Because I'm going to go down to Kentucky and get it, because it's easier to get it here. They've cut the class down for most of them down to 2 days, like a Friday and a Saturday. It's 6 hours of class time and then 4 hours of range day, which all in all it's free. It's very easy to do. You go online to our website, you go in the hunter education section, you register for the class that you want. If it's 5 counties away, your county, doesn't matter. It's very easy. You can sign up for another even option. This is how many options that we have for hunter ed, which is just mind-boggling. You can go online and do the online classroom portion, which cuts out the 6 hours, and just sign up for a range day if it's available in your county, and just go to the range. So you just spend 4 hours one Saturday morning. Be done. You never have to do it again. You lose the card, you go online to our website, you reprint it. That's one of the easiest things in the world. And, okay, let's say your name is like Archibald Henderson. Let's say that. And you know they misspelled it. And so you go to try and reprint yours, and you can't. That thing doesn't come up. Call us. We will find it. Right? If it was, but definitely if it was done recently, electronically, we'll be able to find it. Even if it was done 20 years ago, we still have paper copies of almost all the classes. I think within a 10-year span, truthfully. So mid-90s, like 93, I think, is when they started keeping paper copies. And that's more than 20 years. What am I saying? You have a really good chance of being able to not have to take that class again. And, okay, let's say we misspelled Archibald. We'll go in there, find it. Well, they left the I out of the after the arch. You're just Archibald.
Yeah, how do you spell Archibald?
Archibald.
It's B-A-L-D?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess it would be. I would have spelled it with an O. I myself would have been calling you and say, hey, I can't find my car.
Right, and we have like 3 different ways we can look into the Hunter Education section itself. We can look at the classroom when you took it, and then we have the paper copies themselves. So there's 3 different methods to find you, correct the information, and you can print it out anytime you want. It doesn't have to be on any special paper. It doesn't have to be orange or anything like that. You want it to be on orange, then get some construction paper, put it in your printer. You're ready to go. You don't have a printer? Go to the local library. It costs you 10 cents.
When the September season's open, some of those will require permits. And what do you really need to buy? Make sure you have in your pocket. Make sure you have purchased prior to the opening of the September seasons.
For deer?
Yeah, sure, for deer.
Any large game, which is deer, elk, bear, turkey, you need your annual license. Okay, so
I can see it right now. Oh, I got to get this tag. Oh, I've got to do this. I didn't do that. You know, these last-minute things.
So you just need your annual license and a deer permit, basically.
You could be doing it now and save yourself the rush, especially if there's a hunter education class you've got to drive to or just make time for.
Right.
Do that now.
The hunter education even more so, because those classes do have a limit to them. They might be only able to have 50 people in the classroom because the building only allows 50 people in the room, according to fire code. Get in there and get that class you want. Now, and 90% of the classes, I believe, are already up. And I know there's plenty of classes right now that they can sign up for.
We'll hold up right there, Seth. We'll be back with our final few minutes after the break. Emergency calls. You see someone poaching, violating game laws. You want to tell somebody, but you want to keep your name out of it. All that on my list of questions coming up after the break. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We are back on Kentucky Afield Radio. My guest is Seth Stewart, and he runs the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Information Center. And I'll hand it to you, Seth. When we tried to call, and you were on the show, I guess, a year ago, we tried to call somebody on your staff with a tricky question, and they got it right. But we did that deliberately. And I don't know if callers that call you every day are deliberately trying to be difficult or sneaky, but they may have some question that's, well, detailed. For example, where have you placed Christmas trees and other fish attractors out there somewhere in the state? Let's say Dewey Lake.
Well, I can tell you how you're going to find that information because we'll have to go online because actually it's a Google program. You go onto our website and you go into the fish section and then you find where it says fish attractors and it brings you up to a Google map and then you're basically putting in where you want and it shows every one of them with GPS coordinates exactly where you want to go. So our callers usually, for the most part, once they figure out it's there, they'll call us and say, you know, I need the exact GPS for this model of GPS.
Really?
Yeah, because there's 3 different kinds. And so we'll kind of go into it with them with what their model of GPS is, what their fish finder is, and then from there, what the coordinates that they want of those 3.
And you can do it that precisely.
Yeah, there was a gentleman who called just last year and said, you know, I have model ABC of this fish finder, and I don't know which of the 3 I'm supposed to use. Okay, no problem.
So I'm wondering how far off would they be if you just picked one at random?
Not far off. It's all the same numbers.
20 feet? I don't know.
Well, it's how they program their finder is the trick. So I've done in the past is I've found out what their model number is and then pull up their user manual for that model and find out how they program it, and then I can tell them which ones they want.
That's going the distance. That's going the distance, Seth. I'm impressed.
Well, that's what we like to do, though. I mean, all of us really enjoy that detailed conversation. I tell you what, truthfully, we don't enjoy more so than anything the repetitive question. The repetitive question of, how much is my license? Non-resident. How much is deer license? With permit, $140. Then, $75 for a turkey permit. So you're looking at, like, $215 altogether. All right? So, and these things just kind of are repetitive, and you spit them out, and it doesn't give you the satisfaction, the job satisfaction, really, of being a call center employee who speaks to the public, like it does those little ones that they want to know, how the heck do I program my GPS? Or the ones that I like are, I'm going down 75, and I need to know where in the heck is the new Benji Kimmin Lake. I've been trying to go there. I'm lost. Okay, what road are you on? I'll go on to Google Maps. I'll find out what road they're on, and then I'll do the direction thing where it goes to where, just past grass to where Benji Kimmin Lake is. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the roads you need to go down. When you get to, Johnny Smith Lane, take a right, and it's kind of like gratification of you're really actually helping somebody.
That's going above and beyond. Well, I'm impressed that you do that. Like you, I will call customer service for any number of reasons. Mm-hmm. I'd put it off as long as I can. But when I do, if I get good customer service, I let them know. If I go to a restaurant and I get good service, I tip them well. Mm-hmm. But if I don't, I'll let you know about it.
And there are people that do. So.
And you should. Customer service is a wonderful thing.
And that's the point of it. We are the authority on hunting and fishing in this state. We're the ones who help manage the conservation. And we should be able to give them this information. And if they don't have confidence in us to do it, then we're missing the point, really. We've gone wrong somewhere. And so we try and go that above and beyond all the time.
Do you and your staff, you don't sit around the same table and answer phones. You might be scattered about in the building or on a wireless headset. But anyway, you're not there arm in arm, elbow to elbow. Do you all talk to, do you say, I just got a call about this?
Oh, yeah.
And do you all ever sit down and say, well, how'd it go this week or this month? Or what do we need to do more? What do we need to bone up on? Do you have to call in the directors of wildlife, fisheries, law enforcement, and get them to bring you up to speed on new things?
The volume of information that the department can provide is at a level that we cannot know it all by any means of the imagination.
There's always going to be a gatekeeper. I want to talk to the commissioner. Mm-hmm. Any hesitancy to put them through to at least the office?
Never. For the most part, if it's somebody who sounds agitated, I might try and stop the conversation and say, would you mind telling me what's wrong first? Maybe I can help you. Because that cuts down on the volume to the executive staff, which is, you have to say, is cumbersome. I mean, they have 2 different secretaries for that reason, to try and field all of the information that comes through them, plus their regular events. We'll send people to wherever they want to go. We'll try and answer their questions as best we can. We'll try and head off problems as they come to us. But if they're absolutely content, like, I want to speak to the commissioner, they're going to speak to the commissioner. They're going to go through, they're going to speak to a secretary, and that's going to be handled from there. So there's never any question about sending a caller to somebody else in the department. Everybody is here for them, really.
Before we close the show, you are not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
True.
2 things. What if there is an emergency call? Where does that call go? Do you normally get them?
Usually they should go to 1-800-25-ALERT. That's our poacher hotline. And it's more than that, though. It's a way to connect with their conservation officer. Basically what that does is that runs to a dispatch run by Kentucky State Police. And Kentucky State Police will take your information down and send that information via email to the conservation officer, unless it's a priority. Like poaching is a priority. They'll try and get that officer on the line right away. You wanting to be able to mount an animal that was killed on the side of the road, not a priority. They'll send an email.
And then secondly, if you're only there, what are your hours, Eastern Time?
8 to 4:30 daily.
And so 7 to 3:30 in western Kentucky.
True.
So 7 to 3:30. Other than that, where do you suggest
they go for information? Definitely our website. After hours, if we're not there to walk somebody through it, the website has everything they need, really. The bad truth is that if more people use the website, then I wouldn't have a job.
Sounds like it can be frustrating, especially at certain times of the year, but
we do our best. Thank you for having me on here, Charlie.
Oh, by the way, do you text and drive?
No, I do not.
Good man. We are out of time. This is Charlie Baglin inviting you to join us again in a week, and we will go inside outdoors again, right here on Kentucky Afield Radio.